So good morning. My name is David Hopkins. You said that part already. All right. So it's exciting to be back here at Guilford. This is one of my most favorite places to be. It took me about 9 hours to get here from Pittsburgh, driving at 12 o'clock in the morning, and I got off of the road and hit a tee shot at the golf tournament on Friday that went somewhere behind me, I think. But it was exciting to be here and be a part of this. Wow, look at these guys. All right, so it was exciting to be here. So I think I'm talking about being your best you, or you can be the best you that you can possibly be, or something like that. But basically, I wanted to talk about my story and how I came to that realization for myself. When I came to Guilford in 1987, I was preceded by my older brother, Stuart, who was class of 1990. And Stuart and I are almost polar opposites. My brother is a physician now, and I think he took 0 business classes, and I was a economics major, and I took 1 science class, and it was botany. So I'm like you, Sarah, just 1. That's all. I mean, that's all I could take. Sarah was great, though. I love Sarah. She's one of my favorite people, too. And the 2 people, Sarah as well as Ruth, who preceded me, I appreciate their being here. So talking about being your best you. So coming to Guilford, I was following my brother, who is extremely smart. And when I was going through my admissions interview, one of the persons said to me, like, you're smart too, right? Kind of like that. I was like, yes. But I can run fast though too, right? So we both came here to play football. But not only my brother, but his roommate was also from my high school, and he's an optometrist. So I'm like, wow, I can't, And then I have 2 guys that came here with me from my class. So Guilford had this run on student athletes in Baltimore City, and we all came here to play football and be student athletes at some point. But for me, there was an extreme challenge because I had these very smart people around me, very accomplished, obviously, into their professional ranks, and I couldn't quite figure out where I fit in because, I wasn't so technical about anything that I was going to be a physician. I wasn't the greatest anything, actually, but as I was going through my time here at Guilford, I've had this liberation to figure that out, right? I mean, it was beautiful because I would see some people walking around with no shoes on and see some people walking around with shoes on. I would see some people, studying and being disciplined students, and some people out running around, with tie-dye shirts on. So I was like, so it's a range of places, of things that you could be at Guilford, and just seeing that gave me this liberty to say, wow, I can be what I want or who I want and not necessarily fit into a box. And it was kind of exciting, too. Last night, the CCE had an outstanding concert for homecoming. Did you guys, anybody make it to that? Continuing education. A woman performer, her name was Risa Renee. And she got up there and she sang just about every genre, every style of music you possibly think of, and she was entertaining, she was successful, she was good at it. She was good at being all those things or being nothing. And it was just another confirmation for me about how important it is for us to try to understand the importance of being our best selves. Sometimes we spend too much time working to imitate things that we admire or envision as being the ideal, and then we ultimately kind of suffocate what we could be in doing that. I have 4 children, and they are all, for all intents and purposes, individualized as much as possible. Well, my wife, she tries to say, oh, this one looks like this. I know they look like themselves, right? I'm trying to kind of, detach them from that connection. But they play sports, and they play soccer. And so in order to be a part of their experiences, I decided to coach soccer. And I've never played soccer before. I never even thought of soccer before until they started playing. So the way soccer works is, can I have like 6 volunteers who can? You don't have to have played soccer or anything. You don't even have to have stood up in front of this group of people at any time. So just 6 people, just kind of stand in line. So the way soccer works is, they tell people to stand up in a line this way, right? And they get the kids to stand there, and then they set up some cones, and they roll a ball, and then they tell the kid to maneuver through the cones, right? So while this kid is maneuvering, what are these kids kind of doing? These are 5, 6, 7-year-olds, right? Right, yeah, right. And then this kid comes, and this cones, they're supposed to weave in and out, and this kid runs in a straight line that way with their ball. Let me go back to your seat. And this kid takes his ball, and then he turns around and says, hey, Jimmy, come kick my ball with me. And so they go and kick. And then this person is the best player, so they weave in and out, and they do everything exactly right. And the coach is like, yeah, right. Yeah, all right, you do that. And this person falls down, right? And this person's like, what are we doing here? You know, I forgot my ball, coach, right? Or something like that. And to me, that's like the ultimate of, you know, why you have, so then this became the new drill. I should have kept you all up here. But now the new soccer drill is everyone takes their ball and they just kick their ball in circles around each other, right? And you just kind of tell them, you know, to avoid one another or to try to kick the other person's ball, which is ultimately what soccer is, because soccer is not a straight line weaving through cones. It's maneuvering around people with your ball. And so now soccer drills are more everyone doing something at the same time. And the goal is, and so we have this thing where we ask the kids, okay, we might scatter some cones around, and we get them to all at the same time kick their ball to a cone. And we say, hey, Jimmy, how many cones did you kick? He said, I touched 4 cones with my ball, coach. Good job. All right, let's do the drill again. And they do it again, and then we say, Jimmy, how many cones did you touch this time? And he said, I did it 6 times, coach. Success, right? Because he did more than he did the prior time, which is ultimately him becoming his better you versus him maneuvering through this cone to be as good as, where's the superstar, right? What's your name? Thaley, being as good as Thaley, right? So instead of him saying, wow, I couldn't do what Thaley did, he does as good as what he could do, right? By touching his cone as many times as he could. And to me, that is ultimately how becoming your best you looks. And in the workplace, you know, I think that's important too, because I had a manager tell me this one time. I was on a project with him, and we didn't do well together. And we worked on the project a little bit later, and he said to me, you know what, David, you're better the second time around. Like, what? I didn't get you. I didn't get what you were saying or how you did or why you did. But now I see it, and you are really good. Like, yeah, man. You know, I was trying to tell you. But ultimately, I think, you know, people want you to fit into a box, you know. So he saw this guy who, you know, went to the Wharton School of Business and was, you know, executive in the bank that should ultimately be this, you know, function purpose polished or whatever thing, and that's not really how I do. And so many times we have to kind of break down those expectations and those boxes that people try to put us in so we can be ourselves, and sometimes people aren't ready for that. But ultimately the goal is for you to have that same level of integrity that it takes for you to be successful. And so that's ultimately the 3 points that I try to work within and ultimately share. I'm going to say ultimately one more time, I'm sure. But and that is having some level of personal integrity, some level of cultural integrity, and some level of spiritual integrity. And that personal integrity is that person that you are, that thing that you do, that's the thing that you do. Like, I'm always late. I want to be the best late person I could possibly be. I want to be good and late. Like I said, I jumped out of my car and hit my tee shot, and we drove off. Everyone was like, where did you just come from? I just got here, man. But, you know, those things that make you you, right? And that's what people want. And someone told me this once before, you know, when you walk into a meeting, it's 10 people in the meeting. You were invited to the meeting for a reason. Bring yourself to the meeting. Don't come into the meeting and try to do what everybody else is doing. Bring whatever uniqueness you have. And so that's what I try to do. And then on the cultural integrity, that's important to me as well, because many times, particularly at a campus like Guilford, African Americans sometimes resent the fact that we're expected to be African Americans in the campus with majority of non-African Americans. And so it's important to be able to embrace that, not necessarily fit into a box and be stereotypical African American or what have you, but to embrace that and maintain some level of integrity and clarity on who you are and why you're there and what you have to offer to the diversity of that room. And diversity isn't everyone being any possible thing. Diversity is you and your individual self being able to be in the same space with someone else and their individual self. Not necessarily fit into a box and be stereotypical African American or what have you, but to embrace that and maintain some level of integrity and clarity on who you are and why you're there and what you have to offer to the diversity of that room. And diversity isn't everyone being any possible thing. Diversity is you and your individual self being able to be in the same space with someone else and their individual self. And so to me, that's ultimately diversity. Not that I can be or understand everything that's possible, but that your you and my you can be in the same place at the same time. And then finally, I would say your spiritual integrity. So somewhere, somehow, there is a place where we like to come to where we can connect with something that is bigger than us, and appreciate that and value that and respect it at the very least, but at some point hopefully find a way to serve that calling and that purpose, and Guilford allowed me to do that as well. And so maintain some level of spiritual integrity so that when you're challenged with different things, again in the workplace and family situations, outside in the community, you have a focus or a center point, and that's what I usually also try to govern myself and my thoughts with. So I lost track of this timer, but is that, yeah, it's kind of stop. Oh, yeah, keep going. Tell another story. What's that? I got to do different interpretations. All right. Well, anyway, so that's about it. So I'm really thankful for Megan for inviting me to do this. I'm grateful to the Office of Alumni Relations and Esther, because she's just Esther, right? You can't not say Esther when you're standing in front of a group of people. But I especially want to thank the Black alumni of Guilford College who are here to help celebrate. I got excited because I saw two of my mentors and people who were inspiring me to be my best me, Tyra Parsons and Andre Brody, who came up from Georgia, and I didn't get a chance to hear from them. So that's all. Thank you very much for your time.